Welcome back to Radical and Relevant, where each day we explore the genius of the gospel and look for ways to live the gospel more fully in our lives. Today's reading is from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 8, verses 19 through 21. Jesus' mother and his brethren came to see him, but they could not reach him for the crowd. And he was told, "Your mother and your brethren are standing outside, desiring to see you." But Jesus said to them, "My mother and my brethren are those who hear the word of God and do it." What is it that jumps out at you today? Is there a word? Is there a phrase? Is there an idea? I think it's hard to not look at the idea that Jesus appears to be behaving in a way that is ungracious, maybe at the least ungracious. But one of the things I talk to my kids about is the idea that two things can be true at the same time. Sometimes our minds, they want to focus on one thing, and they get maybe hypnotized by one thing or stuck on one thing. And the reality is two things can be true at the same time. You know, maybe I'm making a trip and my kids will be, "Dad, how do you feel about the trip?" Well, I can be excited for my trip and sad to leave my family at the same time. Two things can be true at the same time. And so, Jesus is saying, "My mother and my brethren are those who hear the word of God and do it." He isn't saying, "No, that isn't my mother and my brethren outside." That's not what he's saying. He's saying, my mother and my brethren are those who hear the word of God and do it. Obviously, Mary, standing outside, heard the word of God and did it. Real question is, how are we doing? How are we doing? Hearing the word of God and living it out. There are parts of the gospel that we intentionally avoid because we don't want to live them. There are parts of the gospel that we explain away because it is radical. That's why we call it radical and relevant, because the gospel is radical. It does want to turn our lives upside down. It does want to create chaos. But chaos that leads to clarity and chaos that leads to calm. What is it that jumped out at you today? And how are you going to carry it with you in your day? How are you going to allow it to activate you to live the word of God more fully in the world today? Have a great day. And remember, don't just be yourself. Be the very best version of yourself. All that God created you to be.